Alright folks, here we go again. Some more practice with our IXL skills. We're going to start today with R5. So R5 is going to ask us to evaluate trig functions with special angles. Now remember, our special angles are part of our 30, let me try again. 30, 60, 90 degree triangles and our 45, 90 degree triangles. So if we see any of those special angles, we know that we're working with one of our special triangles. Now this one says sine of 45, so our sine of 45 is one of our special right triangles. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw a triangle because it's hard for me to see things without drawing the picture. Now remember, when I have sine of 45, here's my 45 degree angle. Remember, sine of 45 is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. And from our 45, 45, 90 degree triangle, remember each of these is 1, and then this is the square root of 2. So if I have opposite over hypotenuse, that's going to be 1 over the square root of 2. But remember, it has to be in rationalized form. So one of the things we need to talk about is how to rationalize the denominator. We're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by square root of 2. 1 times square root of 2 is going to give me square root of 2. And the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is going to give me the square root of 4, which is going to be 2. So that is my answer. Let's try one that doesn't have a special angle. So R6 is going to be using a calculator. Now it's very important that when you are using a calculator, you make sure that you find the mode button. So make sure you go to mode, and there's going to be a couple of options. One will be usually something that says DG, which is degree, and one is going to be something that says RAD, which is in radians. Notice when we have 89, that's 89 degrees. So you have to go make sure you go to the degree button, hit enter, so that your calculator is in degree mode. If you don't do that, you're going to get a wrong answer. So when I do sine of 89 degrees, I'm going to push the SIN button, and then I'm going to put in 89. I'm going to put in a close parentheses button, and I'm going to hit the equals button. And that's going to give me 0.999, so on and so forth. Now this says round to the nearest hundredth. So the hundredth is the second number after the decimal place. I gotta look at the one right after it. Remember, if it's 5 or above, round up, and if it's 4 or below, you have to stay. So because this is 5 or above, we're gonna round this one up to the next highest number. But it's already 9, so that one's gotta go up to a 10, which means that one's gotta go up to a 10, so my actual number is 1.00. And yes, you do have to put in the 2 zeros, otherwise it will mark it wrong because you're not rounding to the correct space. One more on R6. So cosine of 63, you're going to push the COS button. You're going to push a 6, a 3, the close parentheses button, and the equals button. If we do that, we're going to get 0.4539. So remember, they want us to round to the nearest hundredth, so that's this place here. I gotta look at the next one. Remember, it is 4 or below, so we're gonna stay. So that means I have 0.45 is my final answer. Alright, on to R8. R8 wants us to find a missing side. They want us to find JK. So JK is this one here. I don't know what JK is, so I'm going to call it X. Now remember my special trig functions. I have sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent of theta is opposite over adjacent. So Oscar had a heap of apples is how I always remember that. Now I have to look at what two sides I have. If I look at the 60 degrees here, if I go there, X is going to be my opposite side, and the 4 square root of 14 is going to be my hypotenuse side. Now I got to figure out which one of my 3 trig functions is going to give me the opposite side and the hypotenuse side. Well, that one is sine. It's the only one that deals with both. So how I'm going to write that is I'm going to write sine of 60 degrees is going to be opposite, which would be x over 4 times the square root of 14. Now I have to solve for x. Well, what's going on right now is this 4 square root of 14 is being divided by x. So to get rid of it, I'm going to multiply it on both sides. So multiply both sides by 4 square root of 14. So x is going to be 4 times the square root of 14 times the sine of 60. And this is when you get your calculator. Put that in your calculator. So 4 times the square root of 14 times the sine of 60. And that's going to give me 2... Wait, sorry, my calculator does something a little bit different than your guys's. Sorry, okay, so 4 times square root of 14, and 60 is one of our special ones, times square root of 3 over 2. So ignore the calculator. We can't use a calculator because this was one of our special angles. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 14 times 3 is 42. So my answer is 2 square root of 42. Now, I can't just put this in my calculator because they want it in simplified, rationalized form. We cannot, do not round. If you round, the IXL is going to tell you it's wrong. So that's what goes in our answer here. All right, one more just so that we've got things clarified. They want us to find TU. So TU is this one here. I'm going to label that as X. So if this is our angle, this would be my opposite, this is my hypotenuse, and this is my adjacent. So the two sides that I need are the hypotenuse and the adjacent. I got to figure out which trig function is going to use those two sides, and that one is cosine. So I'm going to write cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine of 60 is x over 12. Remember, 60 is one of our special degrees, so you should know what the cosine of 60 is. It's going to give me 1/2. So 1/2 is x over 12. And then I'm going to multiply both sides by 12 to get the 12 out of the denominator, and x equals 6. So our answer that we're going to put in for TU is 6. Alright, on to R9. R9 wants us to find the angle measure, given that we have two sides. So they want us to find the measure of angle Q. I don't know what that is, so I'm going to call it x degrees. I like x. So let's see, the sides they gave us here, that's the opposite. And remember, the long one is always the hypotenuse. So what gives me the opposite and the hypotenuse? That one is sine. So my sine of x degrees is 9 times the square root of 19 over 9 times the square root of 38. So much going on there. Okay, so this is where we get a little tricky. We have to use what's called an inverse trig function. So what we're going to do is we're going to take both of those and we're going to raise them to the negative sign. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take sine inverse of sine x equals sine inverse of the 9 square root of 19 over 9 square root of 38. So what happens is when I take a sine and a sine inverse, they end up canceling each other out. So all I get left is x equals sine inverse. And this is how I'm going to plug this into my calculator. Let me simplify this out now because both of the 9's cancel each other out. I'm going to put the parentheses in there and I'm going to put square root of 19 divided by square root of 38. I'm going to close those parentheses up. So if you're not sure where the sine inverse button is, you have to push the second button and it's the one right above the sine. So sine square root of 19 divided by square root of 38. Oops, 38. Let me fix that. And that should give us 45 degrees. So measure of angle Q is 45 degrees. Alright, our last one is to put together R8 and R9 into R10, so just be able to solve for any kind of triangle. Now notice what I have here is I have a special triangle because I know this is 60 degrees and this is 90 degrees. So this one had better be, nope, not 60. That one had better be 30 degrees. And they want us to find that, so we're going to put 30 in for there. They also, if we remember our right triangles, here's my 30, 60, 90. I'm going to draw it just like this one so that I don't get myself confused. So here's my 30, my 60, my 90 degrees. And if I remember the correct lengths, the shortest one is always across from the 30. I remember that has to be 1. The hypotenuse always has to be 2, and then the other one is square root of 3. That's how I remember. So if I look here, they were really nice to us. They already have square root of 2. So they already have 2, sorry. So those are the same. So what I can do is I can actually just fill in the other ones. So here's square root of 3, and here is 1. So if they want us to find EG should be square root of 3, and FG should be 1. Alright, hope that helps, and let me know if you have any further questions.